a former Northwest teacher in Mahikeng, believes he was fired for being a whistleblower. Simon Liholo alleges that the school fraudulently applied for the temporary employer or employee COVID-19 relief scheme. It received a 200,000 rand grant. Let's get some detail now, and we speak to our reporter Refiloe Seboko, who is following this story for us. Refiloe, good morning to you. Just paint a picture exactly of what happened here. How did this teacher get to be dismissed for blowing the lid or lifting the can of corruption at that school?
I'll give him more time to explain that, but he did say that he did take this matter with different stakeholders. But let me allow Simon Liholo to explain to us. You believe that, thank you so much and welcome to Newzroom Afrika, but you believe that you were dismissed because of being a whistleblower for corruption. Tell us more about that.
Yes, Refiloe. Between April and May 2020, I uncovered or lifted sufficient fraud indicators, or what the lawyers call prima facie evidence, that Mabatu High School had lodged an unlawful application with the Department of Labor and Employment on behalf of about 31 employees who were not told that their names were used for the application, and they did not even get a cent. So the school kept on claiming that this UIF TES was a donation from the Department of Employment and Labor, only to find out that it was not. It was a fraudulent application. I reported the matter to the Department of Education, provincial level. Sadly, they refused to investigate the matter. I then took the matter to Mabatu Police Station. It was registered on the 23rd of June 2020, few months, in fact not few months, a month or so after I reported it. And Brigadier Utukile took the matter. He took me into confidence, the station commander, and worked in a coordinated manner with the Provincial Crime Unit in Poch, with Brigadier Ngube, with Colonel Makoba. So they did a good job, and I'm happy it is in good, competent hands at the moment, but the Department of Education did not do anything.
I want us to touch on some of the things that you raised when we were talking, that you believe that your dismissal letter that you were presented with is fraudulent. Why is that?
Yes, it is fraudulent, Refiloe, because after I reported the matter at Mabatu Police Station, a clandestine investigation was conducted against me by the Provincial Department of Education in the persons of Ms. Masibi and Ms. Chabedi. They charged me on a fraudulent report. They denied me legal representation, and they dismissed me in absentia. After being dismissed on the 9th of July 2021, the following year, I appealed to the MEC, the correct political authority to respond to my appeal. The MEC, the then MEC Matzemela, didn't respond for the whole year until the following year, 2022. On the 29th of June, I received a letter from the Minister of Basic Education, Minister Angie Motshekga. And I was shocked, Refiloe. How could I, as an ordinary PL1 teacher, ordinary English teacher, I'm not a departmental head, I'm not a deputy principal, I'm not a principal, I'm not a circuit manager, I'm not a district official, I'm not an HOD. I was dismissed by the Minister of Basic Education, Angie Motshekga. Can you believe it? Then I questioned her power and jurisdiction to dismiss me. I authenticated the letter with Mr. Steve Mabua, who is the minister's PA, and on the 3rd of February now, this year, Refiloe, I received a letter from Director General Muweli saying, regarding my dismissal by the Minister of the Department of the Basic of Education Department, both offices, including Director General's office, do not have the power and the jurisdiction to interfere in employer-employee issues that arise at a provincial level. So this letter was basically contradicting the purported letter that was issued from the office of the minister.
I wanted to touch on you as saying you are the whistleblower. Were there ever a point where you felt like you needed protection because you had take out information alleging fraudulent activities and corruption? Were there ever a point where you felt like you needed protection?
It is always a fearful thing to be a whistleblower. We know what is happening to whistleblowers. We know of Babita, for an example. So naturally, I felt afraid because whistleblowing and dismissal, harassment, victimization, what they call occupational detriment, they are all mutually inclusive. You can't separate them. So yes, there was that fear. Yes, I did get threats that I'm talking too much, I'm making too much noise about this matter, and so on and so on. So I reported the matter to Public Protector. Unfortunately, Public Protector didn't directly investigate the matter. They referred it to Provincial Department of Employment and Labour, who did not do a good job, until the National Department of Employment and Labour intervened, and they came to investigate Mabatu High School on the 18th, 19th, and the 20th of August 2021, and they produced this report. Mabatu High School, Follow the Money, which I have shared with you.
When you say you reported the matter to the minister, what was the response in terms of that dismissal letter?
They did not respond directly. They said this is a matter that belongs to the Department of Employment and Labour, and yet there is a direct recommendation in the report. It says, I would like to quote it verbatim. It says, the Department of Basic Education should conduct a thorough investigation on whether Section 21 grant was utilized properly, as the salaries of the SGB employees were paid using the Section 21 grant. The scope of the investigation should also include management of the school funds. So this is a recommendation directed to the to the Department of Basic of Education, Minister Njimotsecha. So she didn't. I know she's got the power and authority to delegate this to the MEC.
I want us to close it there, Dr. Liholo, just that we don't have enough time, but thank you so much for being with us here in Newzroom Afrika. Slowly, let's leave it there for now, but these are some of the processes that Mr. Liholo had went through in terms of the case that he has been faced with for about 3 years now, and all that he wants is there to be justice, and also to get in tying more effort in trying to get his job back.